Hi everyone, nice to have you here today. Today we're dissecting the Bilewater track from Hollow Knight Silksong. One reason we are doing this is because it has been requested a lot. I previously uploaded a transcription of the old Bilewater track, including strings, pads and so on my Instagram channel, so check that out if you haven't already. A lot of people ask me if I could make a full analysis video, so as usual I want to give you some ideas about why this piece sounds so great, what the main composition ideas here are, and how you can incorporate the same concepts into your own music. Picture this. You're lost among the twisting paths of Furloom, and at some point you find yourself in this place and it's so calm, the air thin. You hear the notes of the harp from the first time, giving you this feeling that this is gonna be a very relaxed ride, right? And then fuck maggots!
No, what? Ever!
You don't want the bard to be...
Yeah, your expectation gets immediately betrayed, but the contrast between the calmness of the music and the difficulty and gruesome gameplay is absolutely fantastic. It tells you a story rather than providing basic action commentary. We have seen this in the first Hollow Knight game as well, for example, in The Path of Pain. There is a very clear contrast between the difficulty of the gameplay and the music, which keeps ascending like a Baroque saraband playing in the background that grows and grows. It highlights a crucial moment where the gameplay becomes the commentary and the music becomes the protagonist. Something similar, though on a slightly smaller scale, happens in Bilewater. There's a whole backstory to Bilewater, what it was before and what it's become. And this music shows you the past of the area. It captures the nostalgia of what it was, contrasted with the harsh reality of what it is now. And as you fumble for your life among disgusting creatures and try not to jump into the acid pool, the music is telling a completely different story. It tells you about what the place used to be, which is a brilliant aesthetic choice that serves a deeper storytelling purpose. As always, I want to split this video into 4 parts. In the first part, we're going to talk about the melody ideas. In the second part, we'll talk about harmony ideas. In the third part, we will cover form, structure, and rhythm. And in the last part, we'll look at orchestration. One of the most captivating things about Bilewater is the melody. It is surprisingly calm and simple and yet incredibly powerful. If you have played the Bilewater level, you know there's a lot going on while the melody goes along a simple line. How's that melody built? It uses a special technique called pedal point or Orgelpunkt in German. This is a technique where the melody alternates between a steady, repeated note and a moving melodic line. Let's see that in practice. At first sight, it jumps around a lot. What is hidden here is that we're implicitly suggesting the presence of 2 melody lines, one consisting of all the moving notes and another one made of the repeated G-sharp note. The composer alternates between this held steady note and the moving melodic note. The moving notes basically form a descending scale against the held note. Let's go to the studio to see how to create a melody like this. Step 1. Think of a melody line. It doesn't have to be complicated. The simpler, the better. For example, let's say we are in D minor and compose an ascending melody line, D, E, F, G, A. Step 2. Choose one of the notes of the melody to act as your pedal note. Automatically, you place this note in alternation with each note of the melody. Ideally, choose the first note of the scale, D, or the 5th note, A, though there are several options here. Step 3, which is optional. Adjust the rhythm slightly. You can keep a completely straight rhythm in 8 notes or 16 notes, or you can do what Larkin does and use a dotted figuration. I I recommend keeping the rhythm consistent throughout so you don't lose track of where the repetitions are. A famous example of pedal point is in Johann Sebastian Bach Toccata and Fugue in D minor. Experiment with this and let me know in the comments if it works out. One of the most surprising moments in the Bilewater soundtrack is the very cool harmonic change after the first statement of the theme. Let's see what happens here. We establish the key of C sharp minor, right? And the first chord change alternates between the first degree, C sharp minor, and the sixth degree, A major. This happens at the beginning of the theme and repeats several times. The first two times, it is a direct transition from C sharp minor to A major. The third time, it passes through a G sharp chord, which is the dominant of C sharp minor, resulting in a deceptive cadence to A major. And the final time, this change leads to a surprising switch to an A sharp minor chord, creating a wow effect. Where does this A sharp minor chord come from? Well, it is a technique called modal interchange. When you are in a scale like C major, you naturally use the chords belonging to that scale. Now, imagine if you could temporarily borrow a chord from a parallel key that is different but shares the same tonic note. For example, C natural minor, which has 3 flats while C major has none. If you move from the first degree to the 5th degree in C major, 5th degree will be G major, right? G, B, D. But if you want to modally interchange the 5th degree, you can borrow it from the C minor natural scale, making it a G minor chord, G, B flat, D. This expands your harmonic palette into unknown territory before returning to C major. This is exactly what happens in the Bilewater soundtrack. We start in C sharp minor and alternate between the 1st and the 6th degrees, A major, for a few measures. Then, surprisingly, after the second deceptive cadence, we move to A sharp minor. A sharp minor is borrowed from the C sharp major scale, where it serves as the 6th degree. The C sharp major scale can look daunting because it has a lot of sharps, and an A sharp minor chord consists of A sharp, C sharp, and E sharp. You can think of it as a B flat minor for clarity, but technically it is an A sharp minor chord via modal interchange. Why does this transition work so well? Well, because it is melodically justified. This means that the melodic line follows the same path and lands on the note C sharp, which is a common tone shared by both the A major chord and the A sharp minor chord. Melodically, nothing changes, but harmonically, everything changes, creating this powerful sense of surprise. To surprise an audience, you must first make them feel safe before you betray their expectations. Let's go to the studio and see how to use it. Suppose we are in C major with a melody like C, D, E, F, G. We harmonize the first note with a C major chord and the last note with, say, an E minor chord. Playing it once works fine, but there's nothing surprising here since both chords belong to the same scale, the 1st and the 3rd degree. The second time we state the melody, let's borrow the 3rd degree from the C minor natural scale, transitioning from C major to C Aeolian. In C natural minor, the 3rd degree is an E flat major chord, E flat, G, B flat. The beautiful thing is that the E minor chord and the E flat major share a common note, the G, which is the note of our melody. Moving from C major to E flat major opens up our harmonic world before we revert back to C major. My recommendation is to use the technique parsimoniously. It is no coincidence that Larkin repeats the standard sequence 3 times, so your ears get used to the safety before the change occurs. Another fascinating aspect of Bilewater is that it's not completely symmetrical. We're often taught to write symmetrical melodies within standard time signatures like 4/4, structured in multiples of 2, 4, 8 bars, 16. However, the first theme of Bilewater includes an extra 2 beats, an extra half bar right at the beginning, and despite that, it sounds completely natural. If we eliminate this extra half bar and force the theme into a strict, symmetrical 4+4 structure, you notice that something is missing, something is off. The melody does not have enough time to breathe. The reason it needs that extra time is because the melody starts with a very bold statement, alternating between a G sharp and an A, immediately deviating from the C sharp minor triad to the flat 6th degree, which destabilizes the harmony. Placing that tension right at the start of a strict bar will cause harmonic uncertainty rather than sounding relaxed. By introducing those 2 extra beats, you can breathe, hear the underlying C sharp minor accompaniment, and then lift it up with a chromatic tension of G sharp and A alternation. The major takeaway here is that while rules are important because they define and legitimize the system you work inside and make your composition sound cohesive and coherent, you must be able to slightly bend the rules once you understand them so that the music always wins. If you can do that, you can do basically anything in music. There is a cool idea here that we also encounter in the City of Tears track from the same franchise, which is a great orchestration technique. Orchestration basically means the way a composer uses different combinations of instruments to play with timbre and create interesting sound ideas. And in this piece, it is the special way the harp and the piano are used together. When you study composition, books or teachers will tell you that the harp and the piano are very similar instruments in sound quality, range, and overall capabilities. While a pianist can play much more chromatically, you can pretty much replace one with the other in most tonal contexts. Because of this similarity, standard orchestration practice recommends not using the harp and the piano at the same time to avoid inflating the orchestration unnecessarily. However, Larkin here bends the rules one more time by creating a hybrid between the 2 instruments. If you look at the score, they are playing at the same time, but you don't hear both clearly at all times. It is very well mixed with reverb and delay effects that give you this eerie and mysterious sound. The hybrid connection highlights specific notes with the piano, some with both and others only with the harp. This connects to a concept called sound color melody or Klangfarbenmelodie in German. Composers of the early 20th century realized that you can compose a melody not just through pitch, rhythm, and harmony, but also through timbre. The choice of instruments and orchestration is so significant that you can assign different instruments to different parts of a melody, just like you will change the pitches of the notes. If you're interested in this concept, I recommend looking at Anton Webern's orchestral piece. They are very short, around 1 minute long, and showcase how Webern uses the orchestra like a synthesizer to paint melodies by assigning them to different instruments. And that is the video for today. I hope you liked it, and let me know in the comments what your favorite part was or how it helped you composing new ideas maybe. If you found this content helpful, please subscribe to this channel and check out my Instagram too, where I post short transcription videos and take Q&As. And also, don't forget to turn on notification on YouTube as well, because I conduct live streams, once in a while, where we can talk about this stuff in real time. With that being said, have a great day. Catch up later.